this world, the words people speak are not always rooted in truth. They are often reflections of their wounds, their egos, and their unresolved chaos. But the greatest lesson we can learn is to listen not just with our ears, but with our awareness. Because sometimes a few words are all you need to hear to understand someone's soul, or the danger they bring to yours. There are certain statements a man can say to you, not in passing, not in jest, but with seriousness and conviction, that are not just red flags but clear signs. Your peace is about to be disturbed, your growth compromised, and your dignity tested. When these words come, you must not debate. You must not try to fix. You must walk away, not in anger, not in fear, but in clarity and strength. Let us explore the 10 keys that expand this understanding. Because this is not just about avoiding harm, but about cultivating wisdom, the kind that protects the heart, uplifts the spirit, and guards your destiny. You're too sensitive. Learn to take a joke. When someone tells you, you're too sensitive, you're too sensitive. Learn to take a joke. They are not making a harmless comment. They are revealing how little they value your feelings. They are showing you that your pain is their entertainment, and that their ego matters more than your emotional safety. It might seem like a small statement, something easily brushed off, but listen closely. What they're really saying is, your feelings are inconvenient for me. Your hurt makes me uncomfortable, so I'll shame you for feeling instead of reflecting on what I said. That's not love. That's emotional dismissal. A joke that wounds is not a joke. It's a disguised insult. And when someone refuses to acknowledge that their words hurt you, especially when you express it, they are teaching you that your voice has no value in the relationship. They're trying to condition you to silence, to submission, to doubt your own inner truth. Many people have been trained to believe that being too sensitive is a flaw. But let me tell you something. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is the signal that your soul is awake, that your spirit is in tune, that your heart still feels. And that's a beautiful thing in a world that tries to numb people into indifference. The moment a person uses your sensitivity against you, they are weaponizing your empathy to make you question your worth. They are trying to escape accountability by blaming your reaction instead of examining their action. That is manipulation in disguise. And the truth is, anyone who genuinely cares about you will not mock your boundaries. They will not laugh at your discomfort. They will not use humor as a mask to hide cruelty. A mature heart knows the difference between making someone laugh and making someone small. So when you hear those words, though too sensitive, learn to take a joke, pause, breathe, and remember, you are not too sensitive. You are exactly as sensitive as you should be. Your heart is doing its job. It's warning you that something is not safe, that something is not right. And when the warning comes, do not ignore it. You are not here to shrink for someone else's comfort. You are not here to harden yourself just to survive someone else's idea of a fun. You are here to be whole, to be heard, to be honored. Walk away not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to choose peace over pain, even when it's wrapped in a joke. You're lucky I even gave you a chance. There are some words that don't just bruise, they crush something sacred inside you. And when a man looks at you after all you've poured into him and says, "You're lucky I even gave you a chance," he is not speaking from love or gratitude or any genuine place of connection. He is speaking from arrogance, from superiority, from a place that believes your worth is somehow beneath his. That one sentence carries a weight so heavy because it flips the dynamic of love upside down. Love is not a favor. It's not something to be granted from a pedestal. It is not a crown that one person bestows upon another like a king to a peasant. It is supposed to be a shared journey. But that sentence tells you that he sees himself above you, and he sees you as someone who should be grateful just to be chosen. Let that settle in your heart. He is not grateful to have you. He wants you to be grateful that he allowed you in. It may come after an argument. It may come after you try to express a boundary. It may come when you're asking for the bare minimum, respect, consistency, truth, and suddenly his response is not compassion, not understanding, but this dagger. "You're lucky I even gave you a chance." And what he's really saying is this: I don't see your value. I don't think you deserve me. And I want you to feel small enough to stay silent and never ask for more. But here's what you must remember, and not just remember, but feel in your bones. You are not lucky that he gave you a chance. He was fortunate to even be considered by you because your heart, that is not something to be handed out cheaply. Your loyalty, that is not something to be taken for granted. Your energy, your patience, your love, your softness, all of it is sacred. And anyone who sees it as a favor they're doing you by accepting it does not deserve it. When a man speaks like that, he's revealing his deepest belief that he is the prize and you are the one who must keep proving yourself. That he's irreplaceable and you should be thankful for every breadcrumb of attention he throws your way. But relationships built on gratitude for someone's presence rather than mutual appreciation always turn into cages. You start walking on eggshells. You start shrinking yourself so you don't lose the opportunity. You stop asking for what you need. You start accepting crumbs and calling it love. But true love, it doesn't boast. It doesn't measure worth. It doesn't place one above the other. It meets you where you are, and it sees your light even when you're dim. It honors your scars, not weaponizes them, and it certainly never makes you feel like a burden for being chosen. So if a man ever looks at you and says, "You're lucky I gave you a chance," that is not just a red flag. That is a door swinging open with clarity. That is your soul whispering, this is not love. This is control. This is not gratitude. This is ego. You don't need to scream. You don't need to beg. Shoo. You don't even need to explain. All you need to do is walk away with your head high and your dignity unshaken, because you were never lucky to be in his presence. He was blessed to be near your energy. He was blessed to receive your care, your time, your heart. And when someone treats your love like it's something they did you a favor by accepting, it's time to take it back. There's someone out there who won't just give you a chance. They'll give you consistency. They'll give you clarity. They'll give you their full heart, not just half of it when it's convenient. And they'll never make you feel like love is a gift they gave you. They'll show you every day that love is something sacred you are building together. So hold your head high, not because you were given a chance, but because you finally realized you never needed one. Or no one else would love you the way I do, or no one else would love you the way I do. It might sound like a compliment. It might echo like a promise. But if you listen deeper behind the words, behind the tone, and beyond the surface, you will hear something else. Control, fear, manipulation. Because when someone speaks this sentence, not in celebration of love, but in the shadow of conflict, of guilt, or of your growing strength, what they're really saying is, you're not worthy of more than me. They're not trying to comfort you. They're trying to convince you to stay, not out of joy, not out of peace, but out of fear that no one else ever could. This is how emotional chains are formed, one subtle phrase at a time, one doubt planted in your mind, one seed of uncertainty that begins to make you question your own value, your own beauty, your own right to receive love that is patient, kind, steady, and safe, or no one else would love you the way I do, becomes a trap. Because suddenly when he treats you with indifference, you tell yourself maybe this is the best I'll ever get. When he withdraws emotionally, gives you silence instead of effort, you start believing maybe I should be thankful he stays at all. When he uses your weaknesses against you, reminds you of your past, criticizes your emotions, or dismisses your needs, you hear his voice in your mind whispering, no one else will love you like I do, and it holds you there. And that's what makes this phrase so dangerous, because it's not always shouted. It's often said in soft, quiet, almost sorrowful tones, like he's the only one who sees your darkness and stays anyway. But what if the truth is this? He doesn't stay because he sees your light. He stays because he hopes you'll never discover it for yourself. This sentence is not proof of real love. It's a cage built with self-doubt. It's a way to make you feel like he's the only one who could possibly care about you, which makes you feel like leaving would be foolish, even selfish. So you stay, you accept less, you shrink. You compromise pieces of yourself until one day you look in the mirror and barely recognize who you've become. And this is the lie. No one else would love you the way I do. Here's the truth. No one else would hurt you and call it love the way he does. No one else would dim your shine and say it's for your own good. No one else would make you question your worth and still call himself a safe place. There is love out there that will not ask you to forget yourself. There is love that will honor your voice instead of silencing it. There is love that will show up without games, without guilt trips, without psychological warfare disguised as romance. Love is not supposed to confuse you. It's not supposed to tear you down just to make you thankful when it lifts you up again. Love is supposed to feel like freedom, not a loan that you're forever paying interest on. So when a man says, "No one else would love you the way I do," ask yourself, is this love truly love, or is it fear in disguise? Because the love that makes you doubt yourself, the love that makes you feel unworthy without it, the love that keeps reminding you how lucky you are to have it, that's not love, that's emotional captivity. That's control, dressed up like devotion. The most dangerous lies are the ones whispered with soft words and tender eyes. But your soul knows better. Your heart feels the tremble. Your spirit senses the threat beneath the sweetness. You don't need to beg to be loved well. You don't need to fear being alone. You don't need to believe that this is the only kind of affection you'll ever receive, because the truth is, someone will love you without needing to convince you that no one else could. They'll just love you. Gently, consistently, and without trying to own your sense of self. And that, my friend, is the kind of love you deserve. You need to earn my trust, but he gives you none in return. Trust is the sacred ground on which every relationship stands. It is the quiet agreement between two souls that says, "I see you, I believe in you, I'm willing to grow with you even through uncertainty." But when a man looks you in the eye and says, "You need to earn my trust," while offering you none of his in return, understand this, you are standing in a one-sided contract. You're being asked to prove your worth while he guards his heart like a fortress, unwilling to meet you halfway. At first, it might sound reasonable. After all, trust takes time, right? It must be built. But if you're the only one doing the building, if you're carrying all the bricks while he stands back watching, then what you're in is not a relationship. It's a test you were never supposed to pass. And the truth is, he may never intend to let you pass it. When he demands trust but withholds his own, what he's really saying is, "You must earn me. I don't have to earn you." He places himself above you as the standard, the prize, the guarded one whose walls are justified, while any hesitation you feel is labeled as insecurity or drama. But ask yourself, is trust truly something to be demanded from one side while withheld from the other? Or is it something sacred that both people offer in vulnerability as a gift, not a weapon? When someone tells you to earn their trust and then gives you none of theirs, they are creating a power imbalance. It becomes a game of control. You begin second-guessing yourself, walking on eggshells, analyzing every word, every text, every silence, wondering if you've finally proven yourself to him. And the more you try to earn his trust, the more he pulls it away like a mirage, never within reach, never truly offered. And somewhere along the way, you lose sight of your own value. You forget that trust is not a trophy to be handed to you when you've behaved well enough. You forget that you also deserve trust. You also deserve safety. You also deserve to feel like your soul is not on trial. What he's doing is putting all the pressure of peace onto your shoulders, while he refused to be held accountable for his own emotional walls. He might use his past as a reason. Maybe he's been hurt before. But so have you. We all carry scars. The difference is you're still choosing to show up with an open heart. You're still choosing love. He's choosing control. And that's the part that hurts most. You keep giving. You keep proving. You keep showing up trying to be enough while he builds a case against trust and uses that case as an excuse to never truly let you in. But here is what your heart must know. Any relationship where trust must be earned but never returned is a transaction, not a connection. You are not a performer in someone's courtroom waiting to be declared trustworthy enough to be loved, respected, and accepted. That is not love. That is ego and fear masked as discernment. A healthy love does not require you to prove your soul over and over again while receiving crumbs of emotional safety. Real trust is built together. It is created in the small daily acts of honesty, kindness, effort, and consistency, not demanded by one side like a ruler speaking to a subject. So if he tells you, "You need to earn my trust," but gives you none in return, pause. That is your moment of truth, not to try harder, not to shrink, but to recognize the imbalance and ask yourself, do I want to keep climbing a mountain where the summit keeps moving? Because real love won't hold your heart hostage while expecting loyalty. Real love won't make you prove you're enough. Real love won't keep trust locked behind a door you're never given a key to. Real love meets you in the middle, not because you earned it, but because you deserve it. If you leave me, I'll... followed by a threat or manipulation, there are few things more chilling than love twisted into a weapon. When a man says, if you leave me, I'll... and follows it with a threat, subtle or direct, what he is doing is no longer about love, connection, or partnership. It is control cloaked in desperation. It is manipulation disguised as passion. It is the beginning of emotional captivity. These words don't always come loud or angry. Sometimes they are whispered through tears. Sometimes they are spoken with a trembling voice, a tilted head, and a look of pain in the eyes. If you leave me, I'll break. I'll disappear. I'll hurt myself. I'll make your life hell. And in that moment, your heart is torn. Not because you believe this is love, but because someone has used your empathy against you. They don't want to grow. They don't want to change. They don't want to meet you in your truth. They want to stay as they are and guilt you into staying too. This is not love. This is emotional blackmail. When someone threatens consequences for your freedom, for your choice to walk away from something that's harming your peace, they are saying clearly, your well-being is less important than my need to control this situation. And whether the threat is emotional collapse, revenge, exposure, or even self-harm, what they are really doing is shifting the weight of responsibility onto your shoulders for their behavior, for their healing, for their survival. But it's not your job to be someone's hostage in the name of compassion. It's not your duty to sacrifice your safety so someone else doesn't feel abandoned. That is not kindness, that is bondage. And let's be honest, when a man truly loves you, he will never need to scare you into staying. He will not speak in ultimatums. He will not paint horror stories of what he'll do without you. He will never turn your departure into a stage for emotional drama or distraction. He will respect your decision, even if it hurts him, because he will love you enough to honor your right to peace. But a man who threatens you when you pull away is not grieving the loss of love. He is grieving the loss of control. He is not afraid of being alone. He is afraid of no longer having a hold on you. And that is not a relationship. That is a prison dressed in affection. Many people stay in these kinds of situations out of guilt. What if he hurts himself? What if he follows through? What if I'm responsible? But here's the truth you must breathe into your bones. You are not responsible for someone else's choices. So you are not responsible for the way they handle their pain. You can be compassionate, you can care, but you cannot set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Love is not proven by your willingness to endure fear. It is proven by your ability to stand firm in your worth, even when someone tries to make you feel guilty for it. Your freedom is not negotiable. Your peace is not up for debate, and anyone who tries to take it from you under the threat of harm is not loving you. They are binding you. So when a man says, if you leave me, I'll... and the sentence ends with a weapon, not a blessing, that is not your cue to stay. That is your call to leave, not recklessly, but wisely, quietly, firmly, completely. You deserve a love that lets you go if staying would break your spirit. You deserve a love that chooses you freely, not fearfully. You deserve a love that never needs to threaten you to keep you. And if someone ever makes you feel like your exit would cause destruction, remind yourself, a person who truly loved you would never make your peace feel like a crime. They would never make you question your right to walk away. They would never ask you to trade your safety for their comfort. Choose peace, even if your voice shakes, even if your heart hurts. Choose peace because real love never threatens. It heals. I'm the man, don't question me. When a man says, I'm the man, don't question me, he's not making a statement of strength. He's making a declaration of dominance. He is not inviting partnership. He is demanding submission. And if you listen closely, you'll hear the voice of insecurity trying to disguise itself as authority. Love is not about hierarchy. Real relationships are not built on one person commanding and the other remaining silent. But this phrase, don't question me, is not about love, it's about power, it's about control. And it's rooted in the belief that being male somehow grants him unquestioned rule, that his word is final, his decisions above reflection, and your voice an intrusion on his position. But your relationship is not a throne room. You are not a servant. You are not there to nod, to shrink, to obey. You are there to stand beside someone, not beneath them. This sentence is dangerous because it silences your intuition. It tells you that your curiosity, your concern, your instinct to question something that doesn't feel right is a threat. It trains you to ignore your inner voice. And slowly over time, you begin to stop speaking up. You learn that expressing yourself results in being told you're disrespectful, difficult, or disloyal. But what is more disloyal? Raising a question out of care or demanding silence out of pride. The moment someone tells you not to question them is the moment they reveal they don't want a relationship, they want a reign. And in a reign, only one voice matters, only one opinion is valid, and the other, it disappears. You start doubting your perception. You stop asking a why. You stop bringing up concerns. You go along with things that make you uneasy just to keep the peace. But what kind of peace is it really if your soul is restless? What kind of harmony is it if your voice is buried under someone else's ego? Love is not proven by obedience. It is not measured by how quiet you can become. It is reflected in how safe you feel to express your thoughts, your heart, and your truth, even when they differ from his. Any man who feels threatened by being questioned is not strong. He is fragile. Strength isn't afraid of questions. It welcomes them. It invites clarity. It creates space for understanding. Because real masculinity, real leadership, doesn't dominate. It listens, it includes, it humbles itself. So when he says, I'm the man, don't question me, ask yourself, is this the kind of partnership you dreamed of? One where love is conditional on silence. One where your thoughts are dangerous, your insight unwelcome, and your soul slowly silenced. You were not created to be voiceless. You were not meant to sit in the background of your own life, nodding at every decision made without you. Your wisdom matters. Your opinion matters. Your voice matters. Any man who is threatened by your strength will never protect your softness. Any man who uses his role to silence your voice is not leading. He is controlling, and that is not love. You deserve to be heard, not hushed. You deserve a seat at the table, not a place on the floor. You deserve a love that doesn't make you choose between peace and participation, because the truth is, you were never meant to follow blindly. You are meant to walk beside, fully seen, fully respected, fully valued, accepted, fully valued. So walk away from the man who says, don't question me, not in anger, not in bitterness, but with clarity, because the day you stop questioning is the day you stop growing. And any love that asks you to stop growing to stay in it is not love at all. You're overreacting again. At first, it might seem like a casual statement, just a few words said in the heat of the moment. But those few words carry the weight of dismissal. They are designed to shrink your voice, to make you second-guess your feelings, to silence your truth. Silence your truth. When a man says this to you, he isn't trying to bring peace. He's trying to escape accountability. He's not trying to understand. He's trying to disarm. Useki. And what makes this so deeply painful is that it often comes when you are most vulnerable, when you've gathered the courage to speak up, to express a hurt, a concern, or a boundary. You open your heart and speak your truth, and instead of being met with empathy, you're met with judgment. You're told that the way you feel is wrong, that your reaction is too much, that your emotions are unnecessary. But let me be clear, not a too much. You are not a dramatic. You are not a crazy. You are human. And your emotions are not the problem. The refusal to honor them is. When someone constantly accuses you of overreacting, what they're really saying is, your pain makes me uncomfortable, so I'd rather minimize it than face it. They are saying, your truth threatens the image I have of myself, so I'll label you instead of listening to you. Over time, this erodes your self-trust. You start to believe that maybe you are overreacting. Maybe you are too emotional. Maybe your needs really are excessive. So you stop speaking. You suppress your tears. You hold back your truth. And in doing so, you begin to abandon yourself piece by piece by piece. But let me tell you something important. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to express. You are allowed to care deeply and speak boldly and cry freely. Your emotions are not a burden. They are a reflection of your soul's depth. A man who truly respects you will not use your emotions against you. He will not roll his eyes when you express yourself. He will not throw phrases like you're overreacting as a shield to avoid looking inward. He will pause. He will lean in. He will try to understand, even if he doesn't agree. Because love is not always about agreement. Sometimes it's simply about making space. When a man makes you feel like every emotional reaction is an overreaction, what he's really doing is invalidating your experience. He's making himself the judge of your feelings, deciding which ones are acceptable and which ones are not. And that is emotional gaslighting. That is not the foundation of a safe relationship. That is a battlefield where only one person's feelings are allowed to survive. You were not created to be emotionally invisible. You are not put here to be pleasant and quiet while your heart screams behind a smile. You are here to feel, to connect, to express, to heal. And that healing begins the moment you stop apologizing for your emotions and start honoring them. Duo. So the next time someone says or overreacting, again, take a breath and remember, your emotions are valid, your perspective matters, your heart deserves to be heard, not shamed. And if someone constantly makes you feel like the problem for simply having feelings, it's time to ask yourself, am I with someone who listens to my heart or someone who fears its power? You don't need to be a lesser to keep a relationship. You don't need to silence your feelings to keep the peace. Get the peace. Because if peace requires your silence, it's not peace, it's submission. You deserve more. You deserve to be embraced, not erased. And one day you will be. By someone who sees your emotions not as a threat, but as a window into your soul and treats them with the care they deserve. Or you'll never find better than me. It's said like a warning, but it's really a confession that the man speaking those words does not believe in love. He believes in control. He doesn't see you as an equal partner. He sees you as someone who should be grateful he stayed. And what he fears most is not that you'll leave, but that when you do, you'll realize just how much you were settling. That phrase may come in moments of conflict. Maybe after you finally stood up for yourself. Maybe after you've expressed your needs or called out his patterns. It may be shouted in anger or whispered through clenched teeth, but the message underneath it is always the same. Don't forget who I am. Don't you dare think you can do better. But here's what that really means. He knows that deep down, you can do better. He sees your strength, your beauty, your light, and it scares him, not because he loves you too much to lose you, but because he knows that if you ever believed in yourself as much as he fears you will, you'd leave and never look back. This isn't about love, it's about insecurity. It's about control. It's about him keeping you beneath your potential, just enough that you'll question whether you deserve more. And maybe you've already started believing it. Maybe you've stayed longer than you should have, because those words got in your head. Maybe you've told yourself, he's not perfect, but he's trying. Or what if he's right? What if I never find someone who understands me the way he does? That's exactly what he wants. Because when someone fears losing power, they attack the one thing that keeps you free, your self-worth. You see, a healthy man doesn't need to convince you that you'll never find better. He shows you through his actions that he's becoming better every day for you. A healthy man says, I hope you never leave, but if you do, I pray you find someone who treats you like a treasure. Because real love doesn't cage, it doesn't guilt, it doesn't survive on fear, it breathes through freedom and grows through trust. So when he says, you'll never find better than me, ask yourself, what kind of man says this to someone he claims to love? One who's secure, freedom, one who honors your growth, or one who's scared that once you see your value, you'll no longer tolerate his bare minimum. You deserve better than fear-based love. You deserve a relationship that doesn't need to make you feel small to keep you close. You deserve a man who encourages your wings, not one who ties weights to them. Because a better isn't about money, looks, or status. It's about peace. It's about how you feel when you're around him. It's about whether your voice is heard. It's about whether you feel safe, soft, seen. It's about whether your spirit feels nourished or neglected. So here's the truth. Yes, you will find better than him. Not because you're lucky, but because you're finally learning that better is not something out there. It's something you're growing toward every time you choose yourself. Every time you reclaim your worth. Every time you stop tolerating emotional crumbs and start demanding a full table. If he has to convince you that he's the best you'll ever get, he already knows he isn't. And deep down, maybe you do too. Let that truth guide you, not with anger, but with clarity. Not with hate, but with self-respect. Because real love, it never says, you'll never find better. It says, I will strive to be better every day because you deserve it. I don't believe in labels. Let's not define this. Used as manipulation to avoid commitment at first glance, this statement might sound thoughtful, even enlightened. I don't believe in labels. Let's not define this. It seems mature, open-minded, deep. But beneath the surface, behind the words, lies something very different. A quiet refusal to commit. A subtle form of emotional manipulation. A way to keep you close enough to benefit from your love while staying far enough to avoid responsibility for it. You may hear this phrase after spending weeks, even months, pouring your heart into the connection, after giving your time, your affection, your vulnerability, after feeling like maybe, just maybe, this is becoming something real. And just when your soul begins to crave clarity, when you ask, what are we? He gives you this, let's not ruin it by labeling it. Why can't we just enjoy what we have? Labels complicate things, but labels don't complicate things. Lack of clarity does. Work of clarity does. When a man tells you he doesn't want to define what you share, he's not protecting the connection. He's protecting his freedom to walk away when it suits him. He wants the comfort of your presence, the warmth of your affection, the benefits of your loyalty, without giving you the security of a clear commitment. It's not about keeping things sacred. It's about keeping things convenient for him, and you start to question yourself. You ask, am I being too needy? Too impatient? Should I just go with the flow? But deep down your spirit aches. Not because you need a label to feel loved, but because you deserve honesty. You deserve to know where you stand. You deserve to feel safe in the love you're giving. Love without clarity creates confusion, and confusion leads to overthinking, turns into insecurity. And insecurity silences your voice until one day you no longer recognize your own needs. The truth is, when someone refuses to define what you are to them, they are defining it already, just not with their words, with their avoidance, with their hesitation, with their ability to enjoy all of you without offering all of them. And the pain cuts deeper than rejection because it's not loud, it's silent, it's not an end, it's an indefinite pause, a limbo where your heart hangs, waiting for the day he finally says, yes, you're mine, I choose you. But that day doesn't come because he never intended to choose. He only intended to enjoy. Let's be honest, people who truly love you won't fear clarity. They won't be afraid to define the connection because they'll want you to feel safe in it. They'll want you to know they're not going anywhere. Love isn't afraid of labels when the heart is ready to live up to them. So if he says, let's not define this, ask yourself, is this openness or avoidance? Is he truly honoring a deeper bond or just postponing a decision he doesn't want to make? Are you free within this connection or just stuck in a beautiful cage made of sweet words and empty promises? You are not difficult for wanting clarity. You are not pressuring anyone by wanting to know where you stand. That is not fear. That is self-respect. And anyone who makes you feel guilty for wanting to be seen, named, claimed is not protecting your heart. They're protecting their options. You deserve someone who doesn't just feel something for you, but honors it. Someone who chooses to be clear, not vague. Someone who isn't afraid to say, yes. This is real. This is us. So the next time someone says they don't believe in labels, listen not just to the words, but to the intent. Is it coming from a place of love or convenience? Because love, real love, doesn't hide behind mystery. It steps into the light, it names itself. And it says, you are mine, I am yours, and I'm not afraid to say it. You should be grateful I tolerate your flaws. Few words are as quietly cruel as these. Spoken like a favor, this phrase drips with superiority. It doesn't just belittle your imperfections, it weaponizes them. It tells you in no uncertain terms that your humanity is a burden and that his endurance of it is some kind of generous act. But let's be clear. True love doesn't tolerate you. It accepts you. It embraces you. It sees your flaws and stays not to judge you, but to walk beside you. And when a man says he's not loving you, he's shaming you. He's making you feel like who you are is inherently wrong and that without his patience, you wouldn't be worthy of love at all. And maybe over time, you've started to believe it. Maybe you've stopped speaking up. Maybe you've shrunk yourself, apologized too much, overcorrected every mistake just to keep the peace. This isn't love. This is emotional power play. What he's really saying is, I want you to feel like I'm the only one who would put up with you. He wants you to doubt that anyone else could see you, know you, and still love you. He wants to plant the lie that your imperfections make you unlovable, and that his tolerance is something you owe him gratitude for. But here's the truth. We all have flaws, every single one of us. And the right person won't use your flaws as leverage. They won't keep score. They won't bring them up in arguments just to feel superior. The right person will walk with you, not above you. So a relationship where your flaws are constantly pointed out, magnified, and thrown in your face is not love. It's a mirror of their own insecurity. Because people who truly love themselves don't need to belittle others to feel powerful. People who are secure in their heart don't make their partner feel a less than for being human. You were not meant to live under someone's microscope. You were not created to be constantly fixed, managed, or handled. You were created to grow, to evolve, to rise. But that growth should come from within, not through shame. And that's what this statement tries to do. Shame you into silence. It trains you to feel guilty for being real. It convinces you that you should be thankful for being put up with. It dims your self-worth until you start thinking, maybe he's right. Maybe I'm lucky he even stayed. But no, that's the lie. You are not lucky he tolerates you. He was privileged to be trusted with your imperfections. He was honored to be loved in your vulnerable moments. He was blessed to witness the parts of you no one else gets to see. The deepest love says, I see your flaws and I don't flinch. It says, you don't have to hide. You don't have to earn your right to be here. We're not to be. It doesn't manipulate you into thinking you are a problem. It reminds you that you are enough, even while becoming better. So if someone ever says, you should be grateful I tolerate your flaws, don't let that lie take root in your soul. Walk away, not because you're perfect, but because you know your imperfections don't make you unlovable. They make you real. They make you human. They make you worthy of a love that holds you, not humiliates you. And yes, one day someone will come along who doesn't see your flaws as baggage. They'll see them as part of your story, part of your strength, part of the beautiful layered soul that you are. That love, it won't tolerate you, it will cherish you. If a man says these 5 things to you, walk away immediately in the end. Love is not a battlefield where your voice must be silenced, your soul must be shrunk, and your worth must be negotiated. It is not a place where your feelings are used against you, where your humanity is treated like a flaw, or where manipulation is mistaken for passion. Love, real love, does not confuse, threaten, or belittle. It heals, it holds, it builds, it listens. If a man must raise himself by lowering you, if he must wrap control in kindness and call it care, then understand this truth with your whole heart. That is not love. That is fear trying to pass itself off as affection. That is ego demanding your silence in exchange for temporary presence. That is insecurity needing to dominate, because it does not know how to truly connect. You were not created to chase someone who does not see you. You were not born to beg for the bare minimum. You were not meant to be tolerated. You were meant to be treasured. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not unworthy. You are enough. In your light, in your flaws, in your depth, in your strength, in your softness. And the right love will never ask you to question that. The right love will speak life into you, not fear. It will bring peace, not emotional war. It will come with clarity, not confusion. So if a man ever says these things to you, words laced with shame, control, guilt, or manipulation, let those words become your signal. Not to fight harder, not to explain more, but to walk away quietly, strongly, completely. Because walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the moment your soul stands up and says, I deserve better, and I won't apologize for knowing it. And you will find better, because better begins the moment you choose yourself fully, finally, and without looking back.